Hey guys, and welcome back to Pro Speed Baseball. We're back with Aroldis Chapman, and we're breaking down his mechanics piece by piece to show you how he efficiently and effectively uses each one of these pieces to maximize velocity. Let's get started. Okay guys, today we're going to go over the exact sequencing of what we want to do in the pitch from the ground up. We're going to learn how we can leverage the ground for power, what that means, and how it actually works from the ground through your leg, into the hips, into the shoulders, out through the ball. Now guys, we're going to go over real quick the most important part of the sequence in the pitch, and that's going to be our lead foot. There's going to be two things that happen with this lead foot. The first, probably the most important thing, is that it's going to leverage into the ground for power, and it's going to aid in opening up the hips, which are both very crucial for leveraging the ground for power and unwinding the body in the right sequence so that we can release the ball with maximum velocity. Now, the first thing we need to understand about what our stride foot does is that it's going to be the momentum stopper. We're going to have all of our momentum going forward very aggressively, and then when we plant that front foot, that's where all the energy starts. So this front foot is going to come forward, it's going to plant, and it's going to stop our momentum, and we are now going to be transferring all that energy from the ground up through the hips out into the ball. This is going to be very similar to what a pole vaulter does. A pole vaulter runs at full speed, just the same as the way we get our momentum going towards the plate, and then he's going to plant the front of this pole down into the ground and leverage the ground for power. And now all of that momentum that he's had, he's actually off of the ground now. We can see that he's off of the ground, and all of that momentum went down into the bottom of this pole, and it is now shooting up through the pole, and we can visibly see the bend in the pole. That's all of the momentum and all the power that he's leveraged from the ground going through the pole, and this is going to slingshot his body upwards over the pole and release him into the sky. Now the only way he'd be able to achieve this maximum height is if he properly leveraged the ground for power and he sequenced up through the pole correctly, and this is very similar to what we're doing when we're pitching. So when our front foot plants, that's when the throw begins to happen. When that lands, that's when all of our momentum stops, and we can now slingshot the body forward, letting the arm drag behind the upper body and release with a whip action into a flat back follow through. Now the second thing we need to understand about the stride foot is that when this stride foot opens, it is now initiating the opening and uncoiling of the entire body. If we take a quick look from the side, we're going to see that when this foot lands, it's now open. We can see that the hips are now beginning to slightly open, but the shoulders are still closed. And what's going to happen now that the foot's open, the hips are going to continue to open. The shoulders are going to be pulled around by the hips, and the arm is going to lag behind the shoulders. And then as the body finishes, the arm whips around the body, and then the sequence is complete. Now, if we look real quickly from a face-on view, we can see that Aroldis' lead foot is closed off, and now it's going to open up. We see that his toes are pointing down towards the catcher, and now we can see his hips are beginning to slightly open, but we can see his shoulders are still closed off, and now the hips are coming. The hips are going to pull the shoulders around. We can now see that the arm is lagging nicely behind the shoulders, and as Aroldis' chest fires down towards his foot, it is all now released out through the arm, through the hand, into the ball, creating maximum velocity by using every single part of the body and taking the maximum amount of stress off of the arm. So guys, when you're working on this at home and you're making sure you're sequenced correctly, if we look from Aroldis from behind, the big thing I want you to pay attention to is where his arm is when his foot lands. We can see that his initial stride foot is planted right here, and we can see that his arm is still way behind his body. Guys, if we can learn how to get into the right positions and make sure that we are in a loaded position when our foot lands, it's going to make the whole sequence much easier to execute. So a great drill you can do at home is go ahead and get into this position where we get our stride foot landed. Go ahead and open it up and point the toe down towards the catcher, and go ahead and just get that arm back behind the body and make some pitches from there, and thinking about opening up the hips and letting the hips bring the shoulders around and letting the shoulders bring the arm around, and start getting a feeling for sequencing from the bottom up, from your foot to the hips to the shoulders and then to the arms, instead of relying on all arm to get speed into the ball. Try this drill out, guys, and if you do it right, it's going to feel very powerful, and it's going to feel like your arm's not really doing a whole lot. That's a great feeling to have. Keep that feeling going. If we feel like our arm's not doing a lot and we're getting some good velocity, keep that up. That's what we want to do. We want to keep all that strain we can off the arm, and that's going to allow us to get maximum whip and maximum velocity through the zone. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, stay tuned. I got a great bonus coming up for you. I'm going to play a preview out of our pitching series, and if you click on the link in the preview, it'll take you to a place where you can see the entire pitching series for absolutely free of charge. Go ahead and check that out, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys soon. This is the plate, and what you're going to do is you're going to monitor this knee on what I call the spin out line, and that's going to be about an inch outside of your back foot. It's going to be a vertical line about an inch right outside your back, and we don't want that knee to go past that line. So if I'm here, I'm in front of the line. As soon as it goes past that spin out line is where we really start getting the tendency to spin out and lose that velocity. Now, what we're going to